There is a power socket somewhere there, so you could run it off a mains DC adapter. You can see, because of the hinge, look, it's kind of like up on this side. It will just squeeze down a little bit and then it straightens out a little bit, but yeah, so it's not perfect after the repair. You can get 40 to 80 hours on 2 alkaline batteries. That's pretty good going, really. Oh god, the touch bar's not working again. I think what must be happening is because I've messed around with it, it must have just pulled out. The ribbon must have just pulled out, perhaps wasn't in far enough. It could also be because it's raised up on this side slightly here, but I'm going to just pop the keyboard back out. I need to obviously switch it off first, undo the 2 screws, and in here, and then just pull the keyboard off again. This really is beyond belief. I've just glued this whole piece back on. They've now given way at the point where the screw was, so just by virtue of drilling a hole has weakened that bit. We've got 2 pieces here. I'm going to glue them back on, and I'm going to do exactly the same, because the part I fixed here actually worked. Yeah, that wasn't the bit that broke. All of the stuff here is now rock solid, structurally secure. I think the other thing I may just do, actually, is cap and tape off a large chunk of this and heat it with hot air. Just to try and get it to melt better. But before I'm going to do that, I'm going to use bits of wire again all around this part here. It's probably going to break in the middle next. I can see it coming, and can you see here, just gently putting that screw back in there, that's just crumbled. So I think part of, oh, there's another piece just fell off. 2 of those bits there are for the screw hole, actually. So yeah, this is that plastic that's just, it's like biodegradable. The obvious solution to this is someone with a 3D printer could print a replacement piece here. This ribbon just slides through a gap there, and then it's stuck down, so in theory you could heat this up and pull it off, I think. It might not be easy without damaging it, but yeah, so all that had happened is one of these hinges had broke. It looked lopsided on one side. One of these had broke straight away. That was the issue, which means that the extra angle of it pulling like that pulls this out. Even when I reconnected it, it pulled back out again, so I thought there must be something going on with the hinge, and I took the back off, and as soon as I took the back off, this piece fell out straight away. So there you go. These are literally a lost cause. Now, well, I say they're a lost cause. We did manage to get that piece there holding together really well with the tension of the spring, and to be fair, this piece hadn't broken off. It was only as a result of trying to mangle it to get it out, to get the springs off, that it broke down here. So I might be able to do something about both of those pieces again. I did have it on there. You can see it's a fairly clean break. I could super glue that back on and melt it again, stick wire on it like we did that side. I'm just going to give up. Well, I'm not going to give up. I've got an idea. Now, I hit the model websites, 3D model websites. I couldn't find anything. I'm amazed no one has created this piece of plastic, because this is the main thing that kills Psions. The Psion 3 series, 3A and the 3, I think, it's probably got the same button bar. Now, I think to do this, I'm going to heat this with hot air. Let me just show you, there's 2 little points here that can assist getting this out. Because, I mean, you could be tempted to just come in at the edge and prise it up while you heat it, but you'll mark the edge of the flex ribbon probably, maybe damage it. But if you just look here, can you see there's a point there? You can actually see the paper underneath it if you get the right light. And just pushing there, if I just push there gently, you can see it coming up here, this pressure here. So I'm just going to heat it 100 degrees hot air, and then just try and push gently without damaging it, and see if I can peel this off. And then I'm going to send this piece of plastic here. I might just glue that back down first of all, get it in just the right place so it's approximately where it should be. And then I'm going to carefully package this up and send this to my friend Dennis in Amsterdam. He's a whiz at 3D printing stuff, he really is, in terms of the modelling. He does a lot of the modelling himself, he creates all sorts of things. I'll show you some of them in a minute, actually. And my hope is that you might be able to better this. You might be able to produce something that's got the hinges here, yeah? These were originally plastic notches, now it's a screw, but I mean, I wouldn't be bothered if you just had like a dot or something on the mould, there, where I could drill a hole and stick a screw in. Because those were alright, and I think they will take the stress with new plastic. It's just this plastic is crumbly. But all the intricate parts here, like these gaps, you could almost have that solid. That could be a solid piece of plastic. You may even be able to have like a solid angled piece that comes down here like that. So it doesn't need to be as intricate as that on the underside, is the point I'm trying to make. I guess as long as you get this slope here, and it's about the right height here for these screw holes, that's all that's really important. And obviously a tiny little countersunk gap here for the flex ribbon. Yeah. You know, it's not very deep, is it? It's like, I don't know, a quarter of a millimetre. Even if it was a bit deeper than that, it wouldn't make a difference as long as the button thing fits there. And there's the hinges that's the key part, and obviously just the screw mount. So I would imagine it being pretty easy, but then again, what do I know? 3D modelling something with as complex as that hinge there, the way, you know, it comes out and over, and you got the dot here, you know, not easy. So we'll see what Dennis can do with it. Anyway, let's get the hot air onto it. So this hot air station overshoots to start with. It's not used to going down to 100 degrees. So like, just looking at this display, it says 140 now. 135, 30, 25, 20. Wait till we get to like boiling point. And then we'll heat it up. I'm going to heat it, which side? Let's try this side. It's only boiling point. So in theory, there should be a little risk. You know, I can even get up my fingers there. It's not too hot. It's just like boiling water if you hold it there for too long. I could always glue it or use some double-sided tape to stick it into a new piece of plastic. It's just a question of, well, can Dennis do his magic? I don't know. It is really thin. So, yeah, we're sort of getting there. It's quite hard with one hand, actually. What I might need to do is just, I don't know, support this like that, and then do a bit of this, actually, like heat and push. So if I get that in just the right place, I don't know, is it going to come up? Of course, I've got to be careful I don't break it further here. Yeah, it is moving there. I can feel it getting hot. It's just, there you go, it's coming up. It's coming up, look. I'm going to put a dint in it, look, if I'm not careful. I'll report back in a minute. It's very hard to do this on camera. Yeah, so will it ever be the same again? I don't know. I lifted this part here, got the spudger, slid it all the way around here. It's just a question of whether we damage the flex ribbon by doing this. This is the question here, isn't it? You know, you can see the spudger's going under, but am I damaging the ribbon? Oh. Is it melted? This is the thing. I mean, it's only 100 degrees, so you'd expect not. I don't know. Just have a look under there. Ah, look, there's two layers, so we're pulling the sticky bit off. We're not pulling the ribbon up. Oh, this is really painful. Can I get that under there, maybe? Yeah, so there we go, 100 degrees here, this becomes malleable, so the little ripples there, that's alright, I can straighten it out, and I can straighten out the creasing. So yeah, that's alright, let's just stick that somewhere safe. I'll just stick it there for the moment with that lid. And then we've got to do the same thing with this, look, so you can see I started to pull it here, hopefully I'm not going to damage it, but I now need to peel that off. Now it gets difficult at the point where it comes out of here, look. So, I don't know, let's just see if we can do the same thing with this. Let's just try and get this under there. And push. Yeah, look, that's coming up. Yeah, you can just about see that there, so I'm just gradually pulling it this way. It's the same thing where we're going to have to straighten it with a bit of hot air, I think. But you can see I pulled the other hinge off while I was doing that. It took literally no force for that to fall off. So let's just, I don't know, try and push this way. It's really well stuck down. This is where I'll probably just put the hot air on again, heat this up 100 degrees to get it easier to peel off. Well, that was a son of a bitch to get off, if I'm honest. I know I don't often swear on this channel, but that was painful. So you can see I got it off, largely undamaged, but we've got a little bend here. This is going to need, you know, some heating and flattening out, and certainly the curl on the side heating a little bit just to straighten it out. It's just whether this button here still works or not. That's the question. We've got to give it a try, I guess, haven't we? A bit of glue there, look, this is all just this glue on the underside of it. So anyway, that's that off. You can see I broke that little pillar there, that snapped, because obviously it's a very fine piece of plastic. So I'll glue that back before I send this to Dennis. But you can see now, you know, we've got a little cavity here for that PCB, and it just goes through there. And obviously both hinges have broken off again. So you can see I just straightened that out somewhat. Oh yeah, it's curved, but look at the edges. The buttons are okay now, so I'm going to test that in a second. I'm just going to try the same thing on this. 100 degrees, as I say. You don't need much heat. You can see it's flattening already. Look at that. Obviously, to get it off, you then need to peel it back up again, or use the spudger. I've just been using the spudger because I can put some fresh sticky tape on these when I come to. Hang on. Stick them back down, so it's still a bit rippled there. But yeah, I think with a few more tries, certainly this way around here. So yeah, it can seem counterintuitive, but heating it upside down like this can obviously solve it. I'm just going to use this metal thing here actually. Just because I can kind of roll it. Hang on. Oh, thing. I really should have cleaned this up before I did this bit, I think. Let's just stick it there. So, strained out somewhat. You can still see there's a little bit of ripple there. So I'm just going to use these two PCBs actually. Let's just again heat this up to 100 degrees. Get it nice and hot. And I don't know, sandwich the two maybe. That's straightening up actually. Yeah, that's not far off straight. Of course, the difficulty is getting it off, isn't it? This is the thing, I hate this. I seriously hate all these bloody glued bits. It's so easy to warp it again, just getting it off. So, I don't know, is that any better? I think what I might do is clean all the sticky stuff off this, because you know what, this is going to be so much easier to work with when it's not sticky. I think using that approach there will work when it's not sticky. This is one of those repairs that I went into it knowing it was going to be like this. Knew I was going to have no end of pain and heartache. Yeah, it's not really bringing the glue off that. It's still a bit sticky, look. So, testing these buttons now in a precarious way with this being sticky as anything. Let's try this one. Fingers are just going to get stuck to it no matter what, aren't they? So, I'm not even sure if it's stuck in. Maybe one of them's stuck down. I'll tell you what, let's just try and stick it on this. Alright, it's going to press some of the keys down if I'm not careful. What I want is just something where I can interact with it like that. There's a chance it's not in. Or there's a chance that one of these is stuck down, I don't know. There's a chance the ribbon's not in right. I'll try again, just bear with me. Yeah, that clicked. That clicked. Up down lists, hang on a minute. Schedule. Time. Whatever that is. Our world. Calc. Abacus. Oh my god, it works. And on the Printables website, you can see Dennis's amazing creations. He's got 135 3D models that he's created. The top one there is his recent Sega Genesis 3 shell replacement, Hello Kitty styled, printed in clear pink there. It looks absolutely amazing. He's recently done an Amiga pregnant mouse design. That's incredible, because those mice sell for like £150 upwards. So I'm hoping to be able to manufacture one of those myself at some point in the future. Vectrex controller replacement shells, all sorts of different controller shells, cartridge shells, supports, fittings, brackets, gears for CD assemblies, you know, things like PC Engine. I've got some of those I'm going to be giving away on my Discord. New shells for consoles, the Sega Nomad. He's got so many different shells, it's unbelievable. And the attention to detail he applies in each of his designs is second to none. He creates, hands down, the best 3D models on the net. PC Engine controller shells there, don't those look gorgeous and transparent, and Famicom ones as well. And the parts you'll see in a minute, I think he had them printed in resin, and I think they were done by PCB way. Replacement parts, but also, you know, some of these are upgrades and things like that. He's got a few parts for the optical driving the Sega Mega CD. He's got lots of different PC Engine bits there. And I think he's got also the technology now to 3D scan something, which helps him in his designs. Dennis has got repairs on his channel. There'll be a link down to his channel below. Do check his channel out. He does incredible repairs as well. I always think back to his Sega 32X repair. That was an impressive repair. But he's done a number of different surface mount repairs on his channel. And I believe he's tinkering with BGA rework at the moment as well. So he may share a video on that at some point in the future. But I do know he's really busy. Not just creating 3D models, not just repairing things and collecting systems and things like myself. He works for Guerrilla Games. Yeah, you can't ask him anything about games. He's signed a non-disclosure agreement. So yeah, he's just an incredible, multi-talented guy. He reminds me in so many ways of Banjo Guy. He's one of those guys. And Steve Leary, multi-talented people who are just absolutely incredible. So here we are, an awful long time later. I'm sorry, Dennis, that it's taking so long to get around to finishing this. And Andrew Littleboy as well. Dennis 3D printed these and got them to me about 12 months ago, I think, roughly. Maybe not quite 12 months. It must be almost 12 months now. So you can see, stuck the buttons on the inside of the lid here, just to try and avoid getting anything dust or anything related on them. And obviously it's a bit warped, may need to heat that, stick it back down, try and get it flat. But Dennis 3D printed these, so wow, they look incredible. They look really precision, which is exactly the amazing level that Dennis goes to. It's like, they're just incredible, these. So one of these, I think he said I forget now, I think he said he put a strengthener or something somewhere, or it might be an idea to stick one on there, because I don't know how flexible they're going to be, but we've got 3 different pieces here. So I'll inspect those in a minute and work out which one I'm going to go with. Need to try and get the button assembly into that first. I think, you know, that sticky bit that just showed you that's stuck on that lid. But I've got all the parts here. Oh god, I've got to be careful. Yeah, and it's all a bit dusty. I guess I don't really need any of these. And the screws are in there. I don't need any of these just yet. And you can see what I did here. I sandwiched the, hang on, other part of the keys, taped it, just to keep them all on there, because each one of these comes off that, as I showed earlier, it comes off the plastic black piece. So if you were to drop it, well, it's going to be a fun putting them all back on, is the bottom line. Nice Acorn symbol there. Anyway, I'll put that out of the way somewhere where I'm not going to knock it. You may have already seen this bit, I don't know. But there's a break in the middle here. Now, I'm not sure if I just experimented trying to just flex this a little bit and it broke. And that I may have superglued it, but that might be Dennis, because Dennis did say I think one of them may need a strengthener in the middle, because I think it had previously broken. So that might be the one, I don't know. So, yeah, I mean, they all look the same here. It's incredible how precision these are. I'm not sure if there's any difference in the way that he 3D printed these. You know, I think what I'm trying to say is I think they're all the same. So I could in theory go with any of these. Really, I'm just going to go with that one. I think for the moment we'll avoid the one with the split that's been glued, and yeah, a bit fragile in the middle. This is the point I think he was trying to make, is that because you've got this thing here, this nice ridge, it makes it strong and sturdy, but here, not. So it might be an idea to stick something across there. I don't know, like a piece of metal or plastic, glue it down. So I'll have a look at that and have a think about that in a second. But I guess the first thing is to and this is the thing, I can't remember now. Oh, this is just the sticky bit, isn't it? There's actually the flex part of the buttons. Here it is, stuck onto something in there. There we go. What's happened to that there? Oh, it's a screw. Yeah, I thought something had peeled up, but it was just a screw. So again, this was sticky. It's kind of lost some of its stickiness, so it's going to be a bit fun trying to reassemble this, I think. I can't honestly remember which way it goes around now. I think it goes like that, because I think that goes through there. Hang on. No, it goes the other way around. Yeah, it goes like that. Can't go any other way, can it? Yeah, so that's going to go on there, and then this other sticky bit's going to stick on top there. So, I mean, because this has kind of lost its stickiness and its hairs on it, I'm going to clean this with some IPA, and we may have to use a bit of double-sided tape to, you know, secure this in there. It's relatively straight, a little bit warped here. Alright, so let's just have a bit of a gentle clean on top with IPA, and I'm inspecting as I go along here, just to make sure, and feel, make sure it's not kind of like dissolving the surface or anything like that. Because you never know, something like this, it could be sensitive to the IPA. I think it's just the glue we're getting rid of here, and there's very little of it left. Right, let's just try and push that through. So it's going to go through there like that. This is going to be really difficult, this bit. And then we need to sort of, you know, try and get it to go right into the cavity. Yeah, it's going to need something to help it, because it's not going to stay stuck. Oh, I've dropped it on the floor now. It's probably just got half a dozen more hairs stuck on it. I mean, this is one of the other reasons I've not got around to finishing this off. I've been a bit disheartened, thinking, is it a lost cause? Like, you know, how can I actually reassemble this? How is it going to stay together? And I think the answer is, we need to discover. I don't know. I'm a bit close, I'll zoom out again in a second. So the surface is still very sticky here. And again, I might need to use some rubbery glue rather than double-sided tape. But you can see that that's, you know, fit perfectly into that cavity there. I'm just not sure about this bit. And obviously we've got these warps in it, which is, yeah, a bit of a pain. And I've got to be careful. I get this the right way around now. Like, does it go that way? Does it go that way? I think we'll just leave this off for the moment. Yeah, so I think the next thing might be trying to secure the back. I'll have a think about that and I'll report back. So I'm going to use the microscope and the tweezers in a minute to remove the hairs, because, well, in the light I can see 4, 5, 6 hairs stuck on the front there. I'm thinking of using this spring, so if you saw me strip down that Canon printer, if not, the video will be up for that very soon. This is why I save things like this, because I want some springy metal, something that's got some flexibility. You know, you can see it goes back to its original shape, because it's, you know, the spring steel or whatever you call it, yeah? I figure if I cut this off here, and right up to the very edge there, and get it in the gap there, yeah, and epoxy that down, so it'll be a flat piece. I can't really show you because I've not cut it yet. Be a flat piece like that, just between the sensor there. You want it longer, really. This is one of the issues. But if I fill this with epoxy, like right up to the very edge of those things there, I reckon I could do it. I might need to just try and straighten this bend out in this corner with some pliers, because I'm going to need slightly more length rather than less length. And I might even try and extend that out there with pliers, see if I can just get that in that gap there. And please appreciate it's been so long since I looked at this. I think it's going to go that way, like that. So I think the ribbon goes down there, and I think the hinges, yeah, they go like that, and these things go on the out through there, don't they? But if you look at the gap, there's quite a large gap here for the flex ribbon, so a piece of wire right across there, epoxy down. I think it's going to be alright. It should be okay. I mean, it's very short, isn't it? I remember this though, the ribbon here, when it's connected onto the PCB, is really tight. Yeah, so I didn't show you, I just snipped off the curly bit there. I'm going to see if there's any way I can reshape this in something that's a little bit more usable. It doesn't need to be perfectly straight, but, well, it needs to be better than it is now. So, like, we need to get this kink out here, first of all. Bear in mind, it's like a springy steel. If you let go, you could fling it off and stick it in your eye. Oh, wow, I've done that. Yeah, it's not too bad. I think the actual springy part may be treated differently, you know, like in terms of temperature when they're forming it. Yeah, as long as it's nearly flat, that's all we need, because the epoxy should do the rest. Yeah, this is going to be the difficult part now, trying to get this curl out of this. Can we do it? I don't know. Oh, we can. Bear in mind, you may weaken metal when you bend it so much. Yeah, you can still see we've got some kinks here to deal with. So anyway, I'll report back and then we'll stick that into that gap there. Hey, it's Budget UK here again. So I've straightened out my piece of wire marginally. Still some little kinks and things, certainly in this end here. Use one tool with another tool. This is really solid, this, and hammer it. Yeah, that'll do, I think. There's a little bit of a kink as I rotate it here, and not much on that side. I'll just give this side one more go. Yeah, that'll do. I can just slightly bend it with the pliers, I think, at that point there, just to get this last bit of a kink out here. But the ends are pretty good there. Yeah, I had to get this from a shower. You might see that in another video. 25 quid that cost me. Right, that's as near as I'm going to get that with my budget skills. If I twist it, you can see there's a little bit of flatness to the edge here where it's squished out with a hammer, and the same on that side. And maybe a slight twist, but barely nothing, you know, barely next to nothing. So, yeah, I'm going to budge it, and I've cut a tiny piece off the end there to make it fit into that gap there. I'm going to mix some 2-part epoxy. Is that going to stick with this? I don't know. I may even just, in fact, I'm going to use the grinding pen and just going to grind underneath just a tiny little bit, just to rough the surface up before we stick the epoxy down. And I'm going to stick it as near to the middle, you know, up that way as possible, yeah. And then fill a bit extra, you know, fill the epoxy in here almost to the top and over here, and just trail it down on both sides there. Let that dry. So yeah, for me, it's going to be a day or two of letting that dry really before the next stage. Yeah, down to the last bit of epoxy here, so I'm going to need to get some more of this. It's not as good as the older stuff, this. The old Arrow Dye was so much stronger. It was a completely different compound, everything looked different, colours and everything. So yeah, I need quite a bit. I think that should be enough of each of the compounds here. Yeah, these get really sticky. So I often use like bags for components, you know, get a new one each time, so that I minimise how sticky everything gets. There's very little in this tube. It's weird how I seem to have more of the... In fact, these are going to be done after this, aren't they? Because this tube has barely got enough of... Oh, that'll do. Yeah, I was going to say it's barely got enough. That's alright. There's still a bit there out of that tube that I could use. God, I can't get the screw back on there. Why is it not screwing on? What the hell? It's like the... There you go. The screw's gone weird on it. I'll get some IPA for my fingers. Yeah, IPA tends to get this stuff off your fingers before it sets. If you get it on your fingers as it's setting, obviously it goes horrible. And it's really hard to get off. So we'll use this just to mix this up. Hopefully I've got enough there. As you spread it out like this, certainly if you've got an absorbent surface, this is why I've gone to paper rather than paper towel. I often just quickly mix this on paper towel. It's better to do it on a solid surface like plastic, card, paper, etc. So I need to try and get this into here now without getting epoxy onto everything. Oh, hang on, I was going to grind the things, wasn't I? Let's try that. Yeah, so this is the area here I'm going to go for. between these two channels here, straight across there. So I just put it on the slowest speed here, and I'm just going to have a little bit of a, like that. Just try and rough up the surface somewhat. Right, that'll do I think. And if we get our pin in there, I guess it's good to do this under magnification. And the bits of plastic that are there, I'm not going to clean them off. It's nice to have them, you know, mixed in with the epoxy, really, isn't it? It'll just hopefully provide some level of strengthening and support. I'm going to blob quite a large bit there, like that. I think it'll sink in. Do the same thing up over this side, up here. I've got some epoxy on the ribbon there, I can see it. Ugh. It's going to be a messy process, this, isn't it? It really is, because there's just no easy way to distribute this. You could use a finer tool. Maybe this tool is a bit big for the job. Because I just want it all over there like that. Still not very much epoxy in there, in that corner. Yeah, now there is. I'm going to trail it in front of it here, the front edge as well as the rear edge. Yeah, this epoxy is starting to set. It's probably the warm air in here. Oh, blooming ribbon again. Don't get it on your ribbon, whatever you do. I think that's it, actually. I think that's it. If you look at it, it's going to cover it, isn't it? Maybe just a bit more down there. That'll do. It's not too bad, that. So I just need to let that dry now, so you can see our pin there. It's pretty flat, and it's secured obviously on both sides there. So hopefully that might just give it a bit of rigidity in the centre, just enough that we can actually just flex it just a tiny bit to get those in. That's my hope. It might break somewhere else as a result of strengthening it too much there. That's something to think about. Anyway, I can get rid of that epoxy now, can't I? So we're almost 3 days later. The reassembly of this is absolutely crazy. I managed to lift the board out here. It's a bit tight around that hinge, but if you just look here, you can see, hang on, let's just move that out of the way, it goes underneath this hinge here, so it's almost like you've got to take the screen off in order to get this out. I'll show you, you can see it goes right under this plastic here, and if you sort of lift it up like that and look down there, you can see a power connector or something, maybe just like twisting it around a little bit. Oh look, is it coming out? It's coming out. Wow, that was hard. So I guess if we, I should have the wrist strap on, let's just get the wrist strap on. If we try and connect it this way, because this is the easiest way I think, get this on first, the flex ribbon. Because trying to connect this and then connect the hinge is just near impossible. And it's going to go like that, I think. But then again, I need to get it through there, so I don't know, it's a real chicken and egg working on these. I'm sure there's probably an easy way to do this, and obviously make sure that flex there is okay. These break for fun. I fixed, as I might have mentioned earlier in this video, I fixed 2 or 3 of these in the past with fine wires over the top of those there. But this has gone solid now, this epoxy, so... And I guess the curl means it goes this way. So yeah, how do we get... And in fact, will that reach? This is the point question I'm going to have. If it was like that there, that's going to be super tight, isn't it? Maybe it will reach. We've just got to get this in place somehow. What I'm trying to do is align this notch here with that hole. But, well, it's easier said than done, isn't it? I think the spring's getting in the way. That's sort of it. And then at least when we bend this side, well, maybe it's not bending as much, but I don't know. Well, you've got to bend that a lot to get that in. I can hear it snapping already, I think. I don't know, I might have to do this off camera. You can see the problem though, like this is wider than the hole here. Now, you could try and push it in from the back like this. Well, then the ribbon's in the way. Yeah, maybe this is too big for this gap. Because if you sort of put this part, the flat part, right up there, and then this right up here, you can see it's marginally too wide, I think. It's very stiff, that's the other blooming problem here, so even if I get it in, it may then not pivot. Can you tell it's firework night? Also known as Guy Fawkes night here in the UK. There's just no way that's going to go in. I don't think I can get it out now either. You know, it's like I need to prise this edge up without bending the thing. I could split the plastic maybe, but I don't know, it's asking for trouble, isn't it? You know, if I put a little split here in the plastic, this would flex enough to allow it to hinge maybe. Right, so yeah, I'm making some progress here. I filed down here, I don't know, about 5 or 6 times. Just like gradual amounts. This plastic is really sturdy stuff. I'd like to know what Dennis used here. Using IPA is probably not the best thing to use, but it's got a white appearance to it, so I just want to go around it and try and wipe any dust off. Yeah, it sticks on for its dear life. Try and go around that little pivot point there. Difficult to get around it. And then of course it goes white again as it dries. Anyway, you're not going to see that because that's on the inside. So I've done the same thing on both sides here. Now, in the name of trying to get this to fit, I've done a few things that you shouldn't need to do if you were producing one of these and trying to fix yours. And that is, because the tolerance is, I don't know, 0.5 millimetre out, I have also filed here, you know, the plastic here, and there, you know, flatten it down. And then on this side, I deliberately cut, I put a split here, which weakens the structure of it. But what it does allow is the pivot point here, you can press like this, yeah, and it moves. Yeah, in other words, it allows you to get the second pivot point in a lot easier without risking breaking anything. So yeah, I've done that in the name of I'm just trying to bodge this in here. And now I tested it before the last lot of filing and I actually had it in there, and you could open this and it came up and you could close it down and it went away and it was facing the right way. These things here don't grip the little notches on the back very well. Now I'm not sure why that is. It feels like instead of sticking that way like that, it's more to the right. Now I'm not sure if it's got bent. Is it because the back's not on, because the back holds those against the, you know, this part here? I'll show you. They're kind of captive. I don't know, I can't remember where they go now. They go into a little channel, don't they? It's like somewhere, I honestly can't remember. Oh, it's up against here. It's up against this edge here, so the spring's kind of held captive, I think, somewhere on the sides. And then maybe that'll solve it. But I was having to hold the springs outwards like this as I opened and closed it. So anyway, and I've polished all the stuff off here. The screen will clean when we get it back together, but anyway, let's just give it one more final, hopefully final. I might have to take it out again and do it again yet. One more try. So the way I've been doing this is getting this up and this left hand side pivot point in, oh god, first, like, oh, it's not easy. It's not easy. And I've worked out that this is the best way of connecting this flex ribbon without the PCB on, because you could just attach it, can't you? It's really easy. instead of trying to do it through a small cavity. Right, that's it. As I sort of do that, I'm there. Now I'm going to need some Molykote, I think, on these things. Now you can see the issue here. Yeah, look how much little of a gap there. This is why I split that plastic as well, just to try and assist with this. So you've got to try and put your fingers up through there as you push. Just have a little bit of a bend in the middle. If we hadn't structurally secured it in the middle, that would break really easy, like the very first one seems to have done. And then you've got to try and just get that through there, like that, and then slide it down. You can see the tension on here sticking right up. Again, this is why I had this little split down here, because I think without that I would really struggle. I've now got to try and get it in the right position, and it's easier said than done. Up, please don't break. I've got to try and wiggle around. There we go, it's in. So we've got a little bit of a bend in the middle because we've just stressed it. Now I think if I get some Molykote down those sides, and the key is, have I shaved enough off here and off here, because those are the parts really that restrict it quite a bit. So if we now just push this over, you can see the issue here with these. So as I said, they're going to be captive when the back is on properly. Yeah, so like that one there, I've got to try and line it up with that hole, and you kind of have to pull the screen. Hang on a minute, what's going on here? Yeah, you have to manipulate the screen around a bit, and those, it's not easy. I'd love to know how these were put together at the factory by Pixies, I think. I think what I need to do is just, there you go, rotate that a little bit, because if you have that, the angle not right, well, it's difficult to get these springs on. So that one's on there now, and that one is there, but can you see I'm having to pull that across? But when the back's on, I think that would be held like that. Now if I just close this, just watch the thing there, right, closed. See this? This is totally straight. This is where the back piece screws onto these. So me holding it like that, yeah, you can see like that spring is not in the right place, is it? How's it slid this way? I don't know. Feels like it should be further up there. But anyway, if we hold these springs in place like that, and then try and open it again, watch the buttons, it comes out. So I think we just need some Molykote. I mean, I could try and shave more off it. It is still sticking out a bit in the middle, so it probably does need a wee bit more off it. I think it's quite tight in that gap. I think that would be fair to say. This is a mystery to me, is how this even manages to stay in. I mean, you can see how if you padded out the bar with the epoxy there, it might provide too much distance, which means that when it moves like that, it could pull out this flat flex. Yep, and that's what it was. I just released it from the plastic bit here and then just slid it, and it went dink by about 1.5 millimeters this way. And you can see now it almost lines up. Same with this one, it went dink that way inside the plastic housing here. So is that going to be better? I think so, but we need to somehow rotate the buttons out a bit where that button assembly is tight. Yeah, I think I need to file some more off the plastic of that. Oh my god, I might have done it there then. I've got to try and get that one back on there. Still feels like it's bent out that way. I think what I'm going to do is just unhook it, and I'm going to bend that spring. Hopefully don't break the plastic. I'm going to press it like that. That's it, it's kind of pressed outwards a bit now. And I might do the same with the one on the other side. Hang on a minute, let's try and see if we can align the flipping thing again now. Let's see what's going on with it now, so carefully. So that's the open position, isn't it? I don't think I dare open it more than that. And then close it. Can you see it moving? Open it again. So, is it tight? Absolutely. Should it be up more? Yes, it should. I think this should come up further. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's not open all the way. I don't know how far to push this. Yeah, a little bit of leverage in there where I put that split. Yeah, that was scientific, trust me. You might not think it was, but it was. A split in there is probably the only way I could do what I've been doing with this. Right, so that's alright. It's obviously need to clean this to get all the stickiness off it, but I'm going to do some more filing, and I think on the next attempt I'll get some moly coat in there as well, and hopefully it'll be the final fitment. But you can see how these move around like that. They get bent and twisted, and yeah, that slid back there then. Let's just do the same with that one. Yeah, there's a gap. Yeah, there's a gap here, look. So as a result of pulling these off and on, those move. So you've got to be careful. Make sure they're out as far as they can go. I mean, it's no worse for wear. I know we've been filing and splitting things there, but it really is no worse for wear. It looks in pretty good condition. Now, based on the fact that this is a prototype anyway, I'm not going to push this any further, because the way things are at the moment, you'll see, if I close this, it closes. These are pointing straight out, yeah, the screw points for the back piece. The only issues, can you see, it doesn't stay closed. There's just like some tension still, and if I open it, yeah, they come out. This spring gets a little bit stuck on that side there, but it looks alright. Obviously, the issues with this, you see, the reason I'm not going to spend so much more time, I think I'll break it if I keep going at it, filing, and trying to get the pieces back in and out. The fact it doesn't shut very well isn't really the end of the world. It's just a question of whether it works or not. And it seems to present the buttons in the right place, approximately here. You can still see a bit of the flat flex, but I think you always could on these. The thing I'm not sure about is, did we damage this when we removed this with hot air? We may find this buttons on all the time, because of this side here, it's got kind of like lifted as we peeled it off. We don't know whether this is going to be damaged here. Is it going to go back into there and stay in? Is it going to stay in when we open it? I'm going to do that next. We'll do that. And then try and clip the board back in. I don't like the way I've got to move that spring there. That's something that's irritating. But we might not have to do that when these things are supported by the thing here that holds them to that side there. I mean, it may even open a little bit better and close a bit better when we've got that back hinge on. You know, the plastic part, I mean. But the fact that you can close it and everything seems alright there, I just think that's a victory, really. You know, at some point Dennis could, or someone could, just adjust it fractionally. We're talking about 0.5 millimetre in total. If you took even 1 millimetre, between 0.5 and 1 millimetre off the width, and I think it'd be perfect. I really do. That plastic is really strong plastic, from what I can see. When it's under a stress situation here, it might break. So I'm not disputing by the fact that, you know, by the end of this video, I may have broken it. It may break when I open and close it at some point. I don't know. And I got the moly cut in there, by the way, while I reassemble it that time. So yeah, I have no plans on taking that back out now. I'm just going to clean the excess of the moly coat off there, where it's just sort of hanging out in a few places. But overall, yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Right, let's try and get this flat flex back in here. Now, when the PCB was on top, it was a nightmare. I was trying to do it through a small, tiny gap. At least here now, maybe with the tweezers, I might be able to. Yeah, I'm going to need to use magnification because I can't see what I'm doing here. Might be able to get this in there. Yeah, that was really easy to do from the top side like this, and that stays in now. You can see it doesn't even seem to get much of a flex on it. It does touch the ribbon here as it goes up and down, but alright, I'm going to get the PCB back in and see if it actually works. Let's get the wrist strap back on. Yeah, this is going to be the fun bit. Oh, hang on. Oh no! Oh, I've just lost a spring. Yeah, it's kind of ironic. I was looking at that 10 minutes ago going, isn't it cool, that spring? It'd be really easy to lose that spring. And then as soon as I picked it up, ping, it flew off with the plastic bit. Luckily it was still stuck to the plastic bit. That was a nightmare. So this is the thing now, it's another one of these chicken and egg things, like, how did this ever go in here at factory? Because it's, well, it just can't go in. The hole isn't big enough to allow you to fit the blooming thing in. I guess all of the screen and stuff was not attached at the point when this was originally fitted in there. Oh, hang on, it's going in. Whether it's going to get trapped or something, I don't know. Like, something here just doesn't feel right. I think the way I did it before, I eased this side in first. I can see what's happening. It's that spring thing is just getting stuck. I can try and push it in here. Like that. Ah, there we go. Yeah, so that did need some gentle persuasion. I think this should just, there we go, press down like that. So in theory, I could try powering it on now. Let's just see if it's going to open and close. Right, let me get something to jab away at one of these keys, I think. Oh my god, it powered on. Yeah, I've got the batteries precariously held in the back here, and I just used this plunger from Atari ST to plunge the first thing here. So the question is, do these work? Let's try, hang on, let's try abacus. So let's try and press that with my nail. Yeah, abacus selects, let's do cards. Hang on, I heard it click. That's desktop. Updating lists. Cards. That, whether that's H Chris, is that me? I must have done a testing. Schedule, time, world, calc, abacus. Wow, I don't believe it. I absolutely don't believe it. But, well, it's not perfect, is it? But you know what? It's working, even though it doesn't show. It's working. So, and it isn't that bad. It opens fairly wide. It might be a bit better up when I've got these screws in here, because these screws hold on to that whole frame that Dennis has 3D printed. So when it's pulled this way, it may open a bit better, but it may also break. So I don't know, let's see. Yeah, so I took it back to pieces again because I've got one mysterious screw that I don't know where it's from. It's a silver coloured one like that. And yeah, I can't find anywhere for it to go at all. I've checked everything. I've been under here. These are the final two screws, which I've got, two black ones. If I just pull that flash card out. And they go under here to secure the keyboard, one under each corner there. There are no other screws missing though, so that must have come from something else, because I've even had the board back out and had a look under here. There are no screws missing. There's nothing on the sides, on the back. I took the battery bay off again. And the interesting thing here, can you see these have gone white? That shows me the screws were going all the way through and into that. It's really mysterious to me how you get all this tolerance stuff where the back here, look, is like right out. What's that all about? Right, let's just have a quick wipe with some IPA. Hang on, is it wet? Yeah, it's just marginally. Just a gentle wipe over those now, because that's the final wipe those are going to get. And then the bit I've been absolutely dreading is getting this back on. So you can see why I sandwiched it this way now, because, yeah, breathe in the wrong orientation and the buttons fall off. Let's get that round the right way. I thought I'd lost the power, the power on button for a while. Oh, dropped it on the floor. I'll me go find that. Yep, that was hard to find. Yeah, the point here is, and there's dust over everything here. Oh, I can't even blow the dust off it without blowing the keys away. Oh my god, I hate this keyboard. This is why I did this. This is why I put this taped on top, because I just had the foresight that this was just going to be a trauma. It's time for Maybe It's Maybelline. This thing is so gentle, this brush. And it's that kind of thing that probably attracts particles of dust. Look, there's fluff and dust coming off it. Oh, well, I've got to make sure I don't drop this. That'll be a bad day if I did. So much hair coming off it. Can you see the hair's getting attracted to the brush? Yeah, when your wife's not looking, go and nick her maybe a Maybelline brush. This one she threw away, it was in the bin. I'm like, oh, I can use that. Oh no, I'm brushing keys off now. Oh, good God. I'm tempted to blow this, but you know, again, that's just not a good idea. Yeah, I'd hate to get your compressed air on something. So I can see a hair there. The problem is, there are so many of these now that are just not, I just don't feel like they're in the right place. I think what I'm going to do next, to try and remove the final one or two hairs and stuff, I'm going to use the tweezers. Right, I fairly well got rid of any hairs that I can see, any bits of dust. And I did that by holding it down and blowing and using the tweezers obviously to get the hairs out, and there were hundreds of hairs. There's a mark on that, I'm not going to touch that now until we can get it back in. So I need to make sure there's no hairs on this thing. Looks pretty clean. And it's a chicken and egg thing again. It's like, do I put that in here and then put that on there? Do I get this into there? I don't know. It's got a funny mark there as well, like that's got pressure mark on it or something. I don't delaminate slightly. Anyway, I think I should try and put this on there. The problem is with this though, this is kind of flexible. It's a rubbery thing, look. This is the thing that makes this really difficult in my mind. Oh my goodness. It's like, say, you've got a question like, how did they manufacture these? Like, how was this put together? I don't know. It was assembled by pixies, as I say. Or Smurfs or something. I don't know. And a slip or press at the wrong angle here, and you're going to have keys everywhere. Wait, that's not going under there, is it? Oh, now the 8 keys moved. I don't know. I'll report back. Yeah, I figure I should show you the most traumatic bit. So after I've got the flap there in, like that, then we can start to press it down, look, and miraculously everything seems to be lining up here. And then I think these edges don't really sit down, I don't know, like that. Bear in mind we've got screws at the front to secure it. That clips under there, does it? Yeah, those have gone back in. Oh my God. It's a Christmas miracle. So we've got 2 months to Christmas yet as well. It's probably around now I discover I've got a key upside down. Wow, that's actually gone together alright. I'm amazed. Right, let's get the screws back in that hold that in. I'll be honest, I give this a bit of criticism saying why didn't they just put like a ZX81 membrane, but they do feel okay, not great, okay, the fact they have some travel and there's, you know, a separate plastic piece for each, so you know what, it was, you know, quite nice for the time really. I might come back in this to upgrade the RAM to 512k, I don't know whether I dare, to be honest. Yeah, the bit I'm stressed about is this warpage here. This side, not so much of a problem I think, but here, I need to do something with that. I don't know what, because it's just going to look awful, isn't it, if I can't somehow flatten that. Right, so now the keys are back in, let's get the batteries back in it, and see if it still works. That just does not feel right. I don't know what's happened here, but at some point this has become damaged over here. I did inspect it before reassembled it to see if I could see anything, but I don't know. We've got a piece of black plastic somewhere in there. It makes me think something here did get damaged. I just bend this at a crazy angle and then put it back into its slot. So I think with this piece, rather than resort to heat, I've just started to do my usual roll method. So I put in an incredible amount of pressure and roll with something flat against a flat surface, and I managed to do this with some heat as well. But actually I managed to get most of the creases out here. It's still a little bit warped, as you can see. Double-sided tape is going to be a bit bodgy, some glue might be a better thing. So you can see I've put it back in position, and yeah, this side here, really nice actually. Nice and flat and straight. I didn't use any additional glue, I just cleaned it with a bit of IPA, but then the glue all went soft, the glue was already there. So, and it seems to be gripping and sticking fairly well. So you can kind of warm up this glue, is the point. Sorry, not warm up, you can sort of freshen it with a little bit of IPA. Obviously this side down here is sticking on. It's very difficult to try and manipulate. Oh, hang on, there we go. Obviously you've got to be careful because you don't want too much heat here. Yeah, that's not too bad. There are a couple of little ripples around that area, but well, I think that's alright. I'm sure, post in the comments down below, do you think that's acceptable or not? I mean, what isn't acceptable, if you ask me, is the fact it doesn't really shut properly. So, let's give it a try. Let's try Abacus. Yep, that works. Desktop. Updating lists, cards. Right. Schedule. Time. World. Calc. Yay! It works. It's amazing. You know what? It's not too bad down here. It's just this last one. You can see the little ripple at the top here. I'm going to have another go with hot air, because after doing that with the hot air, most of that button's alright, and this one flattened out quite a bit. I mean, obviously they're not as good as these ones here if you look at them in the light, but that's not bad. Yeah, so a bit of hot air, 100 degrees, and some gentle massaging is what you need to do. But I'm very pleased to switch it off. You do like that. That's it. And it just doesn't quite shut. Gadget UK sucks. Nice play.
Gadget UK sucks.
There we go. Fantastic. That's cool, isn't it? I love it. It's really weird, isn't it? As well, that Acorn licensed this, and then it's got the Acorn thing, Pocketbook 2. What happened to the Pocketbook 1? I'm wondering what that was based on. It must have been based on a Psion 2, maybe? I don't know. Unless there was an earlier Psion 3 that was used as the Pocketbook 1, but that wouldn't make any sense at all. And this one's obviously only 256k. How do you get back? Let's go back to the desktop. I'm sure I wrote and have some apps for this. I know the later ones you could do a lot more with. Obviously you got OPL Basic, and that's what I used back in the day to write some code. I had things like hex editors. I had a binary to hex conversion tool, various forms of different data types from one type to another. Certainly on the Psion 2, but I did a load of stuff on the Psion 3. This is a Psion 3. It gets confusing because this is Pocketbook 2. This is actually a Psion 3. And the later ones, like the 5MX, you could run emulators and stuff on. I had a Game Boy emulator on my Psion 5. I wish I still had that Psion 5. You know what? It's not in bad condition, is it? It's not in bad nick. Other than, the telltale signs and things that it's had a repair here. You can argue this doesn't quite come out as well as it should, maybe. That spring. does that. I don't know why. I don't know why I have to do that. It's like open it and then go click. I don't know. It could just be that it's just a bit too wide here. But it looks pretty flat, doesn't it? It's just gone together really, really well, I think, all things considered. Massive, massive, massive thanks to Dennis Vandenbroek. It must have taken him quite some time to 3D print that. So I think I'm going to offer these out on my Discord, actually. I'm going to go and do that right now. This one here had a split. Did it have a split? I think it did. Yeah, this one has been glued. This one was previously broken, I think. I could be wrong. It just looks like it's got glue all the way down there, which makes me think that's previously broken. So I'll just put these as one pair, and then someone's got a decent one to use. And I'll offer it out to the guys on my Discord. Yeah, and then at least someone else can give it a try. You could argue keep them spares, but I think that'd be wrong. It's taken Dennis a lot of time to do this. So I'm going to pass these on to another channel. Maybe Retro Crazy. He might want to have a go at something like this, I don't know. Or Glenn over at CRG. So I'll, report back. I'm just so pleased, though. I am really, really, really thrilled to bits. And it goes without saying, a massive thanks to Andrew Littleboy, because had he not provided this to me, we wouldn't be doing this right now. It's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I actually think with some usage, that actually might get to the point where it closes a little bit better. You know, I can feel it's not far off now. I'm not having to force it much to do that. And the main thing, as I say, that breaks in these isn't actually just that hinge. It does when you drop it, that's when the hinge breaks generally. But from my experience, the thing I've repaired a number of these for is the ribbon there, the video ribbon. You would switch it on like here and you get like lines across the screen or something. It'd be that ribbon there. Just constantly opening and closing it, that ribbon eventually gives way. I think to keep the contact here, I'm just going to use a piece of this ESD safe sponge and wedge it in there, and then the hinge is going to press like that there, which just keeps this way with some springiness because it's spongy. Right, you know what? I feel rather stupid now. It slid out of its channel here. That's what's wrong with that. Because now it's back in its channel. If I hold it, it's very tight now. You can see it's super tight. There's no way that's coming out. Let's try this side. Yeah, that side's nice and tight as well. So that's all it was. And all I did is just like lift it out completely and then move it across to the left a bit and slide it down. And now it holds. It doesn't get pressed in. That's all it was. There's no broken plastic there at all. Right, note to self, when you're working on something that's a wee bit fiddly, you can see it looks perfect now. When you're working on something a wee bit fiddly, pay attention to the assembly and disassembly process. So you can see it feels a bit loose here, but it's just so much better, and it closes. The issue was, let me show you on this piece here. Those two springs, one which was sticking out here, and I've marked this as a result, and the one over here. One of them, it sort of hid itself, didn't it? But then I worked it out. Where it's supposed to go, you stretch it. The spring is facing this way, I think, and you have to stretch it out here, and you slide it up this ramp here, and it goes click in the end there. It goes to this channel here, the spring. It goes in this channel here, and the other one obviously goes there, and that's what it is. I put those in place. They're no longer protruding through here. So we could have avoided damaging that. It's because I did this with such a long gap in between, I couldn't remember. And then when I was looking at the springs going, where do those springs go? I was like, I remember now, they go in those little channels. And I slid it in, and as soon as I did that, this comes out perfect into position here. And when you close it, it closes properly. It's done, it's correct. There we go, it's perfect. Dennis has done an amazing job. Watch it pop up. It's incredible. So with the screen, I'm just going to go with a bit of IPA. It's pretty, well, it's scratch free. There are no scratches on that screen at all. You could probably use plastic polish if there were any minor scratches on it. So I've got a weird mark on the tab key there. I'm just going to just gently see if I can clean that. That is a tiny bit of glue that's got on there. This isn't. This is like warpage of the plastic, I think. So yeah, I mean, it's still not brilliant over there, but I don't think you can press those to switch it on. I think you've got to switch it on like that. Hang on, is that not working now? Oh no, that's not working now, I think. Yeah, it must have come disconnected when it's been opening and closing. So, oh, that's an unforeseen issue. Right, so we're back in there again. It never ends, this. It's like we are so close to the finish line. I was a bit worried, thinking, was it that little metal on here that's made it pull out? But you can see I've just refitted it. Yeah, and if you watch it, it's fine. And I've opened and closed this several times now, and it's still connected at this point. The point is, though, this gets pulled as a result of the flex ribbons moving. And whilst the hood is holding it there, you know, the hood is engaged, I actually think what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut some of this gaffer tape, this duct tape here. It's really, really sticky, really strong stuff. You stick this onto things, and it's very hard to get it up. It's like a fabricy look. Up, I could almost hold that up with that tiny little bit of stickiness from the. We broke that by dropping it on the thing. So I'm going to stick it, a long strip of it, on the tape here, all the way down this connector, over the connector, onto the actual case, just to try and mitigate it being pulled. I'm just going to just trim that down a bit. It's a wee bit too thick, I think. And if you fold the stuff up and it folds onto itself, good luck trying to separate it from itself. It's impossible. Oh, like that piece there. Oh, that was a close one. Oh. Yeah, this stuff is really good for this kind of thing. I'm going to get it over that there, like that. Stick it onto, can't get your finger off it, onto the flex ribbon. I mean, you can see there how well it sticks because, well, I couldn't even get it off my finger. And then use the, where's the tweezers gone? Yeah, I've got that much stuff on the bench. Talked about this before. When I get into a stress situation, I get stuff everywhere, tools everywhere. I'm pressing it down there, press it flat on the PCB, over the edge of the PCB, and down here. That's just going to make sure that just doesn't accidentally disconnect itself, I think, with flexors. Let's try it. Yeah, so I need to clean all the fingerprints off here again now. Round and round and round I go, cleaning this up. Yeah, and the final finishing touch here, that mark there, which was looking white, and the one over here, black permanent marker. So you can tell it's a different shade of black, but what it doesn't do is stand out with like a really light, obvious blemish on the thing. So really it's just this little bit of warping around here, which maybe I could improve more with hot air. I don't know, it's this first button here. You can see, you know, it's just got a little bit warped. It comes on when you press the button there. Anyway, very, very pleased. Absolutely incredible. Test it again. Yay, the buttons are working now. I think that tape will do the job. And apologies if I didn't show you this before. The Highcrest document. It's from Andrew Littleboy. I've been watching your videos for years and they're probably the best on YT. I hope things work out with work, etc. Yeah, I've got a part-time role now working for a friend, so that's good. It's been good for the last few years. I hope you don't have to sell any of your belongings, as that would be very sad after all your hard work. I'm sure things will get better. Yeah, things have worked out really well there. I haven't had to sell anything. Although I have been having to sell things recently just to pay for some house repairs, but it's just excess things, surplus and stuff. I hope you enjoy this and it makes an interesting repair video. It certainly has. Thank you ever so much, Andrew. The things wrong are the right hinge is broken and the touchpad has stopped working as I write this. Best wishes. Best wishes, Andrew Littleboy. Yeah, I had to cut that because it's got his address down there as well. Thank you ever so much, Andrew. Thanks ever so much, Dennis. It's been an amazing tag team between you guys. How'd you get out of this now? Escape. Desktop. Right, so that's that. We need to get a battery in, don't we? So let's just have a look. I polished the tab key and you can see the ink has gone from it. So, and it needs more of a polish. It's got some marks from super glue. I think I'm going to use the grinding pen, put a polishing pad on it and just polish that completely to smoothen it off, and it'll get rid of the ink and it'll just be a blank tab key, but it'll look better than it does now. The only other blemishes on this, I pointed out the 2 marks which we've covered. We've obviously got this, which you can't really avoid when you're trying to peel that stuff off, and that is prior damage before it came to me. It's just like the plastic has gone a bit weird there. Anyway, I'm so happy with this. Right, let's find which side the battery's on. It's that one. So if we have a look at the print there on the case, this is 1260 lithium 1263 volt. I'm not sure how easy that's going to be to get in or out. It looks, well, looks like it's going to be pretty hard actually. Right, so some 1620s have arrived. The thing is with this, like I say, I've been dreading this bit because I'm like, how does this go in here? Yeah, I used to have one of these. I'm assuming it goes in an angle like that, and then if it's like that, I don't know. What's making the connection with the positive? We may be missing something there, like, I don't know, I'm not sure. Switch it on. I don't like the rippling here on this, but anyways. Oh, it's not come up with the error this time. Mind you, it wasn't powered off, was it? It was just in standby. But what you can do is you can press menu. I'm sorry if you can't see the screen here. I'll try and get a better angle in a minute. And then somewhere here, info is it? Battery info. Here, I think. Yeah, good. Backup battery. Good. There we go. That works. Hey, it's completely fixed. It's bodged here, but it works. The interesting thing with these, and I always thought there was a switch, but I don't think there is. When you close it, it doesn't know you've closed it. They should have put a little switch somewhere on the hinge or an optical sensor or something. So, yeah, it's interesting they didn't do that. I guess it times out if you left it and just didn't use it for, I don't know, 30, 60 seconds, 2 minutes maybe. I guess it just goes into standby. But the batteries on these are really good. They last ages. And you can see, yeah, the tab wore off. It's like I tried to clean it and polish it further, and it's really marked up that. So I wanted to try and swap that out. I just missed out on an auction for a bunch of spare parts, and I was just planning on swapping that and just seeing if there are any of these strips here that I could maybe replace that one with that are a bit better. But I'm not sure how you would get that off without damaging it on one side or the other, because the sticky tape that it's held down with, it's so stiff that even when I used hot air, we did end up mangling this side here trying to peel it up. So, I mean, that is the only downside. If I close this now and we have a look around it, the gap here is regular. Everything about it just looks untinkered with, untampered. There's not a scratch on it, there's not a mark on it, there's not a blemish on it. There's no issues with the screen, no marks on the screen. It's just this irregularity here that, in the right light, you're like, oh, something's happened over there in the past. Yeah, I did, off camera, add a tiny bit of rubbery glue under this side here and under the middle, and then put a piece of foam like this, it was cut to size, over there, and weight something on top of it to dry it overnight. Because what was happening, we didn't add any additional adhesive here. We just used the original adhesive that I'd wiped with IPA to get the hairs and stuff off it. So it's not quite as strong as it originally was. And after, I don't know, a day or so, this side here just started to just lift up a tiny bit, like 1/4 millimetre. You could see it raised here. And I just got a blade under it and just put some glue down there with a blade. And then the same thing happened once that dried. 2 days later, it lifted up the middle a little bit, just here. So I did the same thing. I used the sponger actually, it's really thin and flat. And put some rubbery glue on it, slid it under there, moved it around, squashed it down nice and flat, and did the same thing. Just supported it like that, you know, something pressing on it for 24 hours. And it glued fine. And here we are, you know, several days later. It's fine. It's just this bit it is irritating me. That is so irritating me. I'm a perfectionist, this is the problem, but you know what? It's functional. Beggars can't be choosers, and I think the work that Dennis has done is incredible, and it's going to allow many more of these to be repaired, and ultimately they're all going to break on these hinges here. There's so much stress on those, you know, the two tabs with the spring on each side there. So much stress on those, and the plastic is crap. But the plastic that Dennis has used is just brilliant. It's really strong, resilient, sturdy stuff. And as you can see, I bought a few memory cards for this, so we got two more solid state discs. It came with one, didn't it? I forget which one it was now. It's the one with the white label, I think. No, it wasn't. It was, hang on, the one that, yeah, I've got 4 of those now then, actually. I bought a pack of 3 of those. They were like £2 something each. And then I got these, so we got Games Series 3. They're awful, I'll show you some of those in a minute. And then we got Interpreter from Berlitz, do you remember that? Yeah, Berlitz language translation. It's really basic, again I'll show you that. And it's interesting that these only have like 6 connections or something. It's just, must be serial. The data's transferred over serial. I think there's an ASIC in there that, you know, transfers the data. It's, and interestingly, these are sort of classed as an SSD. I mean, it does say solid state disk. It's weird, isn't it? But they're an early implementation of SSD. I was reading one of the chips that's on these, and it's like an ASIC 4 and an ASIC 5. One of them supports like 256 meg. So this was like light years ahead of its time, really. It paved the way, you know, it paved the roadmap, if you like, for future ideas and future technology. And then I got this spreadsheet 3 here that doesn't work, doesn't do anything. Put this in, choose install apps, there's nothing on it. It feels formatted. So I've had my money back on that. But I think in the name, I was going to say in the name of science, I might take it to pieces, but I may just see if there's a way you can flash these things from the Psion, because it's no different than a solid state disk. These have a write protect tab somewhere there. This doesn't have one. Does that mean you can't write to it? I assume it's just going to be read only. So we might need to hack it to pieces to work out what's going on. There could be a bad connection inside it. Maybe I should try and flex it a little bit and then retry it. So I'll report back on that. And the tab. You can see here, I need to polish around this in a minute just because I've got some marks from IPA and stuff. But the print wore off just from overzealous cleaning. You know, I mean, not very much really, to be honest. A bit of wiping with IPA, and the print started to come off there, and there was just a bit of a T and a bit of the B, and it just looked a mess. So I wiped it off. And then, and this was all in consequence of having the super glue. I think you may have seen it from an angle, a bit of super glue or epoxy or something stuck up here. And of course I tried to chip that off very carefully, and the plastic scratched really easily, and it looks awful. So I then polished it with a Dremel, and it looked still scuffed up here. So then I got some really, really super fine abrasive sandpaper and sanded around it and smoothed it off. And if we look at it in the light there, yeah, you can see this is rippled up here, but the button, it looks alright. I got rid of the imperfections on the surface. But then I thought, well, it's a blank tab key, so I bought one of these printed, what they call, overlays here. It's awful. The downside to this is you're going to see a little bit of the clear stuff on the key, and the print is a bit thicker than that. Right, so my tab is now a tab again. The quality of those stickers is shockingly bad. It really is. And you can see it does sort of stand out, doesn't it? It's bolder. You can see where I cut it out. But, well, it's better than not being labelled at all, I think. Incidentally, at least I got a free gift with that set of key things there. And I could always use those to fix other keyboards where there's, I don't know, a key missing or something. Because what you could do is, you know, a keyboard like this, let's say for instance you had a specific key and one key's damaged or missing, you could, you know, the spare key, you could fit, scrub the surface, a bit like we did here, unintentionally, and replace the key. Yes, it might be obvious, like it is here, that it's a bodge. I actually think this is a nail file, but maybe it's not, maybe it's tweezers. I'm curious to see what this is. It's got like a Hello Kitty sort of theme to it, hasn't it? Well, there isn't a kitten on there or a cat, but it's cutesy design. It's some pink tweezers, isn't it? Oh. Yeah. Here's some pink tweezers. Quite why you'd need those. Maybe you would actually when you're doing the labels to grab the label and stick it on so you're not getting your fingers all over it. But yeah, they're all right. They'll come in handy for something.